Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things for nerdy through a common sense lens. And happy days are here again, boys and girls, because it took a long time. And for quite a while, I've been saying Jennifer Salke is the reason why the majority of the Amazon products that have been coming out have been absolutely hot garbage, whether it be Wheel of Time, whether it be Rings of Power, whether it be some of the really crazy stuff that's happened in some of the later seasons of The Boys, all of that kind of nonsense, all of that kind of garbage, all of the identity politics, all of the race swapping, gender swapping, wham and power garbage that we've had to deal with falls solely at the feet of Jennifer Salke. She's the one that's been pushing this agenda and all that other kind of stuff. Well, after the absolute abysmal failure that was Rings of Power, all of the behind the scenes stuff that was going on over the fight over the rights to James Bond and who would produce it, well, guess what, boys and girls, the world is healing because Jennifer Salke, the absolute witch over there at Amazon MGM, has been fired, boys and girls. She is officially gone, and considering the fact that Jeff Bezos himself has been doing things that try to get away from all of the identity politics and nonsense and garbage that has infected so much of our wonderful favorite IPs out there and simply and totally tried to destroy them in every way, shape, or form they could, well, guess what? That is now finally filtering down to Amazon Prime, MGM Studios, all of their movies, all of their televisions, all of that kind of stuff because Salke is gone. Does this mean Rings of Power is going to get any better? No, that show is going to be absolutely hot garbage. Same thing with the Wheel of Time and everything else. Those are projects that are already in the mix and going forward are going to continue to be the dumpster fires that they are. I would imagine you might see a few more of them be canceled, maybe a little bit sooner than what was expected or initially talked about, considering the fact that their champion is now gone. But needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, the cancer that has been infecting Amazon MGM Studios for a long time is officially been routed out, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So we're going to check out this article from cosmicbook.news, getting all of the juicy details and everything else that we've got going on out there. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 1,700. We're on our way to 1,800, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think we'll actually be able to get good quality stuff? Does this give you more hope for James Bond going forward and what it'll actually end up being and who is going to be behind it and all of that kind of stuff? Or do you think it doesn't going to matter that this woman's gone? The cancer has just reached into so far into the entire ecosystem over there at Amazon that it'll simply not get any better. Let us know what you think about that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, from cosmicbook.news and our dear sweet Matt McGloin. Amazon shakeup. Studio head fired over James Bond and Rings of Power. Oh, yes, boys and girls. Jeff Bezos might have acquired Rings of Power or Lord of the Rings rights for over $1 billion, but Jennifer Salke was one that was responsible for turning it into the hot pile of steaming garbage that it absolutely turned out to be. After all, she's the bestest at absolutely everything, but apparently is such a poor leader that she doesn't know how to train her troops to be even a tenth as accurate and good as she is. No. She's got to show up everybody else and make them all look like fools. Thursday afternoon brought the big news that Jennifer Salke, head of Amazon MGM Studios, had stepped down after 7 years. Yes, 7 years. I'm one of those guys that was like, I was a huge fan of The Magicians. I loved that show as well. And of course, right about the time where that show got completely and totally woke and they killed off the main male protagonist and tried to make it all about the girls, of course, it went down the hill. And that was long before I had a word for like woke and all the identity politics kind of stuff. I just knew that the story was really boring, was really stupid. I didn't like it anymore, and I didn't even bother finishing the season. And that was a show that I had loved from literally the very first episode. Yeah, didn't even bother finishing it. And guess what? Jennifer Salke is one of the ones responsible for the change in things. While it's been claimed it was her decision, yeah, we know how all of this works in Hollywood, right? All of the front-facing stuff is just, oh, we really appreciate her time here, but she's just ready to move on to other projects and yada, yada, yada. It's all the same Hollywood BS nonsense. They're all fakes. They're all phonies, right? It's all lip service. It's all virtue signaling, right? None of them actually mean any of the stuff. We know what's going on behind the scenes, right? And that she will be moving on to producing. It's actually said that Amazon fired her. Reportedly, reportedly due to the recent James Bond deal and even the failure of the Rings of Power. I mean, talk about talk about the fastest way to burn $1 billion in literally less than 2 seasons. You actually did it in 1 season because you had what was a 70 to 80% drop off from the first episode to the last episode. You lost 70% of your audience from beginning to end just in season 1. Yeah. Jeff Bezos is a numbers guy. I'm pretty sure he could have realized that dog was not going to hunt. And considering the second season just reconfirmed that it wasn't going to get better despite all of the marketing and all the rest of the BS, yeah. That would have been definitely a nail in the coffin for her, but it looks like James Bond was part of that as well. Christopher Nolan might also have something to do with the decision. So Amazon recently purchased the entire rights to James Bond, with it announced Amy Pascal and David Hyman will be running things. And honestly, Amy Pascal at least has a track record of doing some pretty good things. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Spider-Verse movies because, hashtag Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but a lot of people loved them. The story's really good. People I know and whose opinions I respect loved all of that kind of stuff. So that's at least a good creative direction to go in. According to Deadline, that's what sealed Jennifer Salke's fate. Coming from more of a TV background, she reportedly clashed with Pascal, Hyman, and longtime Bond producer Barbara Broccoli. Under Salke's leadership, Amazon developed The Rings of Power, The Wheel of Time, Reacher, Jack Ryan, The Boys, and more. So yeah, I mean, outside of Reacher and Jack Ryan, which still I know are a little bit of a niche audience, but I've heard good things about them. I like The Boys season 1 and 2, but it really started to go off the rails towards the end. And of course, Rings of Power and Wheel of Time have been absolutely hot, steaming piles of garbage right from the very get-go, and that was when she really had full control of things. So yeah, needless to say, Salke doesn't exactly have a great track record of very successful projects. Unlike these Amy Pascal, and I didn't look too much into David Hyman, but Amy Pascal definitely does. So according to the site's sources, Jennifer Salke wasn't involved in the talks surrounding the James Bond deal, which reportedly cost another $1 billion on top of the previous deal worth $8.5 billion, which I believe is what they actually spent to acquire all of MGM Studios, which of course has the rights to distribute all of the Bond movies. Well, now they spend another $1 billion, sounds like Lord of the Rings all over again, to acquire the entire right and not have to worry about Broccoli having to produce and stuff like that. So Amy Pascal and David Hyman are said to have negotiated with former Warner Brothers film executive Courtney Valente, who had been working under Salke. Salke's role won't be replaced. Now, that's another sign that she was absolutely fired and that the role is not necessary anymore and probably just caused more problems than it was worth, because otherwise they'd be keeping the position. Sounds like Amazon Prime might be slimming down a little bit, as Valentini will now report directly to Amazon MGM Studios head Mike Hopkins. So literally she was the go-between between all that kind of stuff and caused all the problems and championed all this hot garbage that didn't work. Yeah, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you on your way out. It's claimed that as a condition of signing on to oversee James Bond's franchise at Amazon, that Pascal and Hyman requested that they report to Valenti and not Salke. Yeah, it sounds like nobody likes this chick behind the scenes. It's also said that Barbara Broccoli didn't get along with Jennifer Salke. Like, that's kind of a consistent trend here. You see what I mean? Nobody can really stand this insufferable twat waffle. Yeah, and considering what she's produced, makes sense. A recent Wall Street Journal report claimed Broccoli called the Amazon effing idiots. Reportedly, when Amazon owner Jeff Bezos heard what Broccoli said, he ordered James Bond to be acquired at any cost and wanted Broccoli cut out. And yeah, home girl got paid to hand over her father's legacy to a giant mega corporation. So hope it was worth it. Hope it was worth it. Reports claim that under Jennifer Salke, Amazon wanted to take the James Bond franchise in a new direction. That's right, another reimagining, another Rings of Power situation, with a female lead and spin-offs featuring diverse characters in a Marvel-style cinematic universe. And see, this is exactly what I was saying. This woman is the source of all of the identity politics, the cancer, the spirit of the age that seeps into all of what should be these wonderful IPs that Amazon is producing, because they've got all of the money to buy the best of everything. But of course, Jennifer Salke's not going to allow that. No, boys and girls. It's not about the money. It's about the message. And Jennifer Salke was all about the message. Sounds like Bezos is tired of paying for all of her dumpster fires. And because the message don't pay the bills. Rumor says Jeff Bezos pushed back, sending a company-wide memo stating that James Bond will remain British and male. Oh, yes, boys and and girls. Based Jeff Bezos. I mean, seriously, at some point, you know that the numbers just don't pay off when you're trying to track this modern audience that doesn't exist. Bezos is a numbers guy. I mean, he literally made the most successful online shopping website out there in the world. Like, it's literally one of those things out there. This guy knows, basic math, it still ends up working. 2 plus 2 still equals 4. And it sounds like Jeff Bezos is not possessed by the spirit of the age and is not worshiping at the altar of the cult. So that's all good signs, hopefully, going forward. The Rings of Power is also cited as a factor. As the most expensive TV show in history, it's been reported that the series has lost a substantial portion of its viewership. Deadline says, and this is Deadline, mind you, this isn't like Cosmic Books rumor mill, this is Deadline, a Hollywood trade magazine. The high-priced Lord of the Rings of Power, weren't game-changing enough to cover off an executive who spent a lot of money with not enough results. I mean, yeah, we looked at the numbers. We've covered that stuff extensively, either on the old channel or here on this new one. You know what I mean? It's like literally we covered this extensively. That show was an absolute abysmal dumpster fire, right? Like the critics couldn't even cover it up. Didn't matter how many magazine shoots they did with Entertainment Weekly. It did not make a difference. And I mean, just the cringe soap opera level promos they were making for that show was just like, everybody's just like, what? It gave us content for days. That's what Jennifer Salke was good at, boys and girls. Christopher Nolan might also be a major reason behind Salke's exit. Deadline notes that the controversy over not giving Roadhouse a theatrical release may have contributed to her dismissal as well, with director Doug Liman publicly voicing his frustration. We saw that, and honestly, this is something everybody in the industry, everybody in the commentary industry and in the news industry has been talking about for a long time. This is stupid. You spend tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on these movies just to throw them into streaming, right? Two problems with that. One, it screws you out of any kind of awards, which of course we know is what Hollywood is the most important thing to them. And also it screws you over on all of those box office returns you would have got. You don't make money off spending $100 million, especially on a movie or even a television show on a streaming service, unless it's like Stranger Things or One Piece, something that's actually going to draw in new customers because they hear it's so amazing and good. Guess what? The majority of these streaming stuff is not like that. If you release it in theaters, at least you might recoup some of the money you spent out there. Whether or not the movie's good or not, you're going to make more money in the theaters than you're going to make on a streaming service. That's just basic math, boys and girls. And hey, contrary to all the acolytes of the cult, 2 plus 2 does still equal 4. So it's also worth noting that Nolan left Warner Brothers after they released their entire 2020 slate simultaneously in theaters and on streaming. He's now reportedly a contender to direct Amazon's new James Bond film. Now, if that doesn't give you hope for the future of James Bond, boys and girls, I don't know what would. I mean, Christopher Nolan doing a James Bond movie? Epic. Absolutely epic. And you know what? It's so refreshing to hear. It's so good to see an executive actually getting what they deserve for once. Instead of these people constantly failing up in Hollywood, constantly just getting moved over to somewhere else and getting some sweet, cushy package deal, like obviously what we're going to see with Kathleen Kennedy when she does finally leave Star Wars, hopefully at the end of this year. But it's this kind of situation right here, which is a refreshing thing to see, because this is very much out of the realm of very much out of what we have known historically has happened in Hollywood. Normally, people that fail this bad end up getting something even better, which actually has always boggled our mind, because as always with Hollywood and in so many other industries, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not what you can produce, it's how do your politics align with everybody else's. And guess what? Jennifer Salke, that apparently doesn't matter over there at Amazon anymore, because after the disastrous dumpster fire of Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and as well of all of the problems you just seem to have caused with James Bond, you are now fired, my dear, and you can move on to something else with your life. And thank the Lord in heaven, ladies and gentlemen, because it does indeed seem like the world is healing, because at the end of the day, the identity politics does not pay the bills. It doesn't bring in subscribers, and all it does is damage established IPs that fans have known and loved for a very long time. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power should have been an absolute slam dunk. dunk. But instead of deciding to actually stick with the source material, stick with what Tolkien wrote, you decided to go completely and totally 180 in a crazy direction, rewrite the entire story, try to make it in your own image, and guess what? Just like Lucifer himself, pride came before your fall. And now, Jennifer Salke, you have fallen. You decided to advocate for the cult, for the spirit of the age. You decided to dance with the devil, and now you've gotten burned. Amazon, MGM, and Jeff Bezos, good job, because this actually might go some way to repairing the damage you've done with the fan base out there. And who knows, we might actually get good quality James Bond going forward and everything else with Amazon Prime. This gives me hope for Warhammer 40K as well, because now I know this absolute activist witch will not be sticking her fingers in the middle of it. So boys and girls, rejoice, because this is happy, happy days. And Jennifer Salke, you danced with the devil, now you've gotten burned, and it's exactly what you deserve. Good riddance, no one will miss you. Thanks for playing. We won't miss you in any way, shape, or form. So see yourself out. We're done, and so is Amazon. Enjoy irrelevancy, Jennifer Salke.